So first you need to understand the architecture level different. Then you will by default came to know what is Kubernetes and all. Okay. First I'll take this my hardware. On top of it, we should be need our operating system, and there is some Docker engine. On top of it, we will be using our containers. Container 1, container 2, container 3, container 4, something like that. Okay, so if you remember, this is what we have discussed, right? Coming to Docker architecture, containerization by default. This is the architecture. This is how they made. Okay, here the problem is if something happened to my host operating system, something happened to my host operating system. Of course, I won't be able to access my containers. I won't be able to reach out my container. It will be something like that. It will react and it will respond like that. Correct? So there is no proper high availability is being available with Docker concept. There is no proper high availability in no proper HA Docker. So that's why what happened. Kubernetes we have in Kubernetes we are giving more priority for what you call high availability and all. See, for example, when you take Kubernetes, it will not be a one server. See, we'll have a node 1, we'll have a node 2, we'll have a node 3, something like that. So we'll have a various node. Node 1, node 2, node 3. We have a various nodes like that. Okay, basically all these are no will be false. All these are false under. Okay, node groups. These are will falls under something node groups. On top of it, right, we'll have an operating system. As usual, we'll have an operating system like that. Okay, we'll have a operating systems like that. This is my operating system. On top of my operating system, right, I'll have a Kubernetes engine will be installed. This is something my EKS. Okay, Kubernetes. Kubernetes, no people short form they used to call it as a K8s. All right. So various. When you take AWS, right, we will be studying Kubernetes with respect to of AWS. So service name is EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. Okay, it has various versions of Kubernetes actually. 1.10, 1.11, 1.12, 1.13. So like that, now it will go. It will go up to 1.19 is the latest version. People majorly using right 1.17, 1.18, something like that. But the latest version is currently it's available in AWS. Kubernetes 1.19, EKS 1.19 is a version. Okay. Here on top of the Kubernetes only, you will be provisioning your containers. Okay. Actually, here people know they are used to call it as a pod. I'll give what pod in the sense. So you'll have a pod like that. POD. On top of it, how this been architected. Okay, so like that, what happens? Here, the area which I'm making it as dark, right? That is where Docker layer. That is where Docker layer. On top of it, you have a something called pod. There is an abstraction layer that is something called as a pod. However, even though you are coming to Kubernetes, Still people know they are using some layer called Docker. On top of this Docker only, you will have this pod. On top of this, you will have something called pod. So here, literally people are used to call it as a containers, right? Here people know they used to call it as a pods. So on top of it, Docker will have a container that is something called as a pod. So here the advantage is, if one node goes failure, we have another two is a redundant backup. Meanwhile, my auto scaling, if you remember, we have studied in auto scaling. What my auto scaling will do? My auto scaling will provision a new server. It will replace it automatically. That is the advantage of it. If one part goes down, right? If one part goes down, what happened? It will automatically provision the one more part. For example, if one part goes down, sorry, if my one of my part goes down, okay, due to any reason, what it will do, it will automatically provision. Since we have auto scaling, will automatically provision some of the parts. Okay, understand?
Got it.
Anyone ask any question? So that is the main advantage of Kubernetes, and many more is there when you come to Kubernetes, right? It's opt for managing each container, sorry, each part, right, in easy way. We can reachable, and so when you come to Docker, right, all the images you have to keep it locally. All the images you have to keep it locally. But Kubernetes, right, which has direct contact with the Docker Hub repo, it will automatically go and it will download the images. You don't want to maintain anything locally. It will directly have the backend connectivity to your that part. I mean to say, your Kubernetes Docker Hub. So it will automatically do all these stuff. All right. So this is the overall info about Kubernetes. Okay. So what I will do for now, I'll remove all these. What I will do, I'll just start provisioning one cluster. Okay. So that cluster, I mean the setting of this cluster, right? That itself will take around hardly no. That itself will take you around huge time. Okay. So it will take around 30 minutes, something like that. Okay. So meantime, we'll discuss the other architecture and something like that. So, fine. I'll just tell you what this EKS-CTL is the command line. Through the command line only we can create EKS control, create cluster and the region. What region we'll pick? Just go to. I opened the database. Okay, I've just logged in. Let us go to EKS service. Let me open EKS in new tab, and meanwhile I'll open IAM over here. Yeah, we'll take Oregon as my region to create. US West 2, all right. US West 2, name of my server, right? Will give like high-tech cluster and version 1.18 will give a node group name. Node group name. I'll tell you what I'm doing. First I'll run the command, but that will take 30 minutes of time. After that, back and let it run. Front end I'll explain you what command is it, what all these steps and all. Okay, so I'll have to run this in AWS CLI, AWS config. Let me get the access key, secret key. He never knows. Let us generate a new one. And US West 2 is my region. Yeah, AWS here, TLS. All right, guys, now working. So the command I'll execute over here. Okay, this is just started running. Yeah, this will take around 20-30 minutes of time to complete this cluster provisioning process. Meanwhile, we'll discuss all these stuff. Okay, first we have to install, there is some tool called EKS ETL in terms of setting up your Kubernetes cluster in your AWS environment. We have to install, there is a tool called EKS ETL. First thing you have to understand, this is the Kubernetes advantage. That is what we are coming into Kubernetes. It's kind of a no cluster based concept where your pod, right, will never go failure. Everywhere auto scaling functionality is there. Mostly, right, the reason in on premises also people having what you call, people are having general Kubernetes concepts, but how it does differs when you have on-premises environment, right? If any one node goes failures, there is no auto scaling is possible, because auto scaling only possible in cloud environment. That is the first advantage of setting up an Kubernetes cluster in cloud. Setting up an Kubernetes cluster in cloud, the first advantage, if any nodes goes failure in the cluster, it will not automatically come up using auto scaling. That functionality only applicable in cloud-based Kubernetes cluster. That is the first point. Second one, if you go to on-prem Kubernetes configuration, right, there is something cluster itself. We have something called master node and worker node. There is something called master node and worker node. We need to configure them manually. So this is going to be our master node. This is going to be our worker node. Master node will have all the configuration, all the working principle, all the control across all Kubernetes cluster. Worker node, right? Whatever parts you are creating, whatever container you are creating, right? On top of your worker node only, it will be creating. So master node will be managing which pod available in which node, when the utilization happens, how it has to migrate, all these things, right, will be in master nodes control. Okay, so but the advantage when you are provisioning your Kubernetes on cloud, you don't want to manually set up anything with respect to an worker node, master node, and all. Let it take automatically. Okay, let this will take automatically. We don't want to worry about it. So about core concept about Kubernetes and all, you don't want to worry about it. Okay, this is the advantage. Second advantage of creating Kubernetes cluster in cloud-based environment, either AWS or Azure or GCP. If you go manually in on-prem with the physical servers and all, if you're making clusters, there is no auto scaling in if any resource goes failure. And second thing, right, you will not be getting anything like what do you call something like you need to manually take care of your master node, worker node, all these things. Okay, here those two are now become advantage to you. Okay, so now coming to the configuration part, right? This is something your node group, actually one node 1, node 2, node 3, right? That is your node group. The entire setup is calling it as a cluster. This is Kubernetes cluster. Only these three node, right? Those are node group. This entire cluster we are creating under US West 2 region. That is what we are specifying here. So EKS, CTL. I told you, right? That is a tool. Through the tool only you can create a cluster. So create cluster region you have given US West 2 region you are creating. Name of your entire Kubernetes cluster. Name of your entire Kubernetes cluster is high-tech cluster. Okay. Version 1.18. I used Kubernetes version 1.18. So node group name, we have node, right? 2 node, 3 node. That node group name I provided as a high-tech node group. Node group name I provided as a high-tech node group. And node type I provided as a T3 medium. Node type I have provided as a T3 medium. All right. So node group, node type, T3 medium. So coming here, so this is something your auto scaling configuration. If you remember, minimum node, maximum node, and desired capacity. Desired number of nodes I gave it as a 2, and minimum node I gave it as 1, and maximum node no it's 3. Like that I have specified. And node AMI, which is I gave it as a auto. Node AMI I gave it as auto because generally you cannot take your own AMI for creating your Kubernetes environment. Normal operating system, right? We'll install the operating system. We will later, right? We will install some other package with respect to a Docker. That is not which is possible in Kubernetes. There is something called EKS optimized AMI. When you go and refer this, you scroll down, see basis of your image version. Oh, 1.20 also came. Okay, I aware that 1.19 only, no issues. So, but anyway, we are launching 1.18 in cluster. So here, if you can go and check based on your region, it will give you the AMI ID. When you click on view AMI ID, when you click on view AMI ID, this is the AMI ID, it's available. Okay, this is the AMI ID available. So instead, I don't want to get into trouble. In that case, what you can do, you can provide auto. When you give auto, it will automatically take which region you are in currently, what thing have to be done. That part, right, will automatically take. And your public subnets, subnet 1 and subnet 2. Minimum you need to provide 2 subnet. 2 subnets are must be in 2 different availability zone. Okay. So this is what happening when you're running this command. I'll share this command. You guys also try. Before that, you need to install EKCTL in your local machine. I'll tell you how to install that. Getting started with EKCTL. Yeah, if you're a Linux guys, just refer this.
Cluster and node group.
Sorry.
What is the difference between this cluster and node group?
Your entire setup is called it as cluster. Okay. These 3 nodes, right? We are providing name to the 3 nodes, which is something node group, grouping the node 1, node 2, node 3. Entire setup with the operating system, with the entire EKS installation, everything is called as a Kubernetes cluster. This is one setup. The setup is called Kubernetes cluster. Node 1,
Okay.
node 2, node 3. I am creating simply a one node group. Nothing else.
So if any master node fails, will automatically switch over happen? This master node and the other node.
Yeah, that is the advantage of your EKS, cloud-based Kubernetes. It will take care automatically.
Okay.
There is no option to install it. Yes, see here is given installing or updating EKCTL. If you're a Mac user, follow that. If you're a Linux user, just to follow that. If you're a Windows user, just to follow that. In terms of installing in Windows, right, you need to install something called Chocolatey. For installing the CKCTL, Chocolatey is the dependency. So you need to click on this. It will take you to a different site. First, you need to install Chocolatey. See, you need to copy and paste this command. Okay, so once you have installed Chocolatey, after that, go there and run this command. You will be able to install it. First, you have to configure the EKS. After that, only you will be able to set up some Kubernetes command. You can execute all this Kubernetes command and all. Okay, so otherwise it will come error like there is no command found. Name this kubectl, something like that. Okay, fine. So even though we are taking this as a Kubernetes service, backend it is using our normal AWS service only. Okay, so each nodes, right? These nodes, right? These are easy to instances. Automatically, it's creating a new node, right? That is backend. It's happening auto scaling, EC2 auto scaling configuration. And when you execute this command, it is provisioning, right? All these resources provisioning, installing Kubernetes 1.18 and setting up a master node, worker node in backend, everything happening through cloud formation. Okay, when you execute this command, it will start execute the cloud formation. See, waiting for cloud formation stack to create EKS HITEC cluster setup. Okay, so almost 3-4 services already involved here. Your nodes are being into like EC2 instances, and your Kubernetes, right? That is cluster which has been made by specific cloud formation stack. And one node goes failure, the another node appearing, right? That is happening because of our what do you call auto scaling. Okay, these many core AWS services involved in that. Okay, front end you are seeing as a cluster, back end these many things are happening. We can even see in console. So let me close all these. Let me open cloud formation. Okay, see creation is in progress. EKCTL HITEC cluster, right? Which is creation is in progress. And if you go to EC2 instance, you should be able to see the cluster nodes. Okay, maybe it may take few more seconds. Okay, so and also you can find the auto scaling also. Okay, as of now everything seems empty. If you see after 5-10 minutes, the resource will be available here. Okay, just wait for 5 minutes because the cluster will take that much time. So that's the reason we have started early.
Hari, one more query. So, what is the difference between pod and container? Actually, container are also available inside the pod.
Yes, nothing for our better understanding. If you would like to, don't want to confuse by yourself, understand container parts are similar. But if you want to go deep dive, I wanted to know technically functionality wise. See, when you take this pod, right, first abstraction layer will be container. On top of it, you will first abstraction layer will be Docker. On top of it, you will have a another layer, which layer is contain container. On top of the container only, we'll have a pod. This is what technically happening. The orange layer, right, which is something abstraction layer people used to call technically. The abstraction layer of Docker, abstraction layer of container. On top of it only we are creating the pod actually. This is something happening again in the backend. If you don't want to get it confused by your own, right, then do it like understand, like when come to Docker we used to call it as a container. When come to Kubernetes we are used to call it as a pod. But this is what the abstraction layer happened in terms of getting one single pod.
Okay.
Even with high tech, right, we have
Hari,
advanced Kubernetes batch available over there. No, we'll go each and every component, we'll discuss it, because as I told, that session itself around 30 hours only for Kubernetes. Yeah, maybe we'll go deep dive and we'll discuss all these.
Hari, I have
Yeah.
a question for you. So you said the version of Kubernetes 1.18. So let's see, in my production I have 1.18. If I want to upgrade it to 1.19, how should I do it?
There is a EKS command available, or if you come to this EKS, right, there is option here, upgrade. You can upgrade over here itself. That's
It will
very simple.
automatically upgrade to all the
See.
clusters, or
Yeah, it may require some minimum downtime. If you click on update now, it will start update.
oh, okay.
Okay, whatever version you want to select, you can select. You cannot directly jump into the advanced version. You can select the one by one and you can update it. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, one question. Like actually, if we create this Kubernetes cluster, right? So will there be any agent running on that cluster, or like Kubelet or any Amazon provided agent, AWS agent?
Nothing like agent. The purpose we are installing EKS optimized AMI. In Docker, we have a Docker daemon is running, right? Similar way, Kubernetes service will be running inside of it. So the dependent package, the corresponding services, everything will be running on it. There is nothing like special agent and all. Agent concept will comes under Ansible. Here, the Kubernetes, the dependency and Kubernetes services, Kubernetes daemon, those component will be running, of course, inside.
Okay, like nodes are monitored by which service actually?
Nodes are monitored by Kubernetes. Master node will be taking care of each nodes monitoring and what is the status of all other that particular Kubernetes service. With the help of master node only, it's monitoring.
Okay.
So there are two category available. One is kubectl, another one is minikube. Anyone knows the difference between these two? Actually, kubectl is a command line to manage our entire pod and Kubernetes cluster, everything. Kubectl is the command line tool. Then come to minikube, right? Minikube is something where I can tell you. See, when you do not have a setup. So if you remember, we have learned something about hosted hypervisor. What is meant by hosted hypervisor? Anyone recall quickly? What is meant by hosted hypervisor? In the hosted hypervisor concept, right, we can set up the Kubernetes, okay, which is something minikube. So where you do not require any cluster. See, it's not possible to always maintain node 1, node 2, node 3, right, in Kubernetes. I wanted to practice something. I wanted to run out some executing the commands and all. What I can do, we can set up one hosted hypervisor. We have a Kubernetes minikube images are available. We can configure over there. So when you configure minikube in hosted hypervisor setup, what happens without your this many number of node 1, node 2, node 3, right? You can manage all those. Okay, you can manage all those commands. You can execute all those commands, create a pod, deploy application, all stuffs, right? You will able to do it. So that is the advantage of Minikube. The hosted hypervisor, it will allow you to set up your Minikube functionality. Okay, entire cluster you can assume it in single virtual machine in hosted hypervisor. So that is something possible. We can execute all the cluster commands, everything in the hosted hypervisor VM itself. So why I'm telling like that, all the time we don't want to go and depend on this node 1, node 2, node 3, the biggest cluster concept. See, every time it takes around 30 minutes, right? See, it is taking around 30 minutes. So I think it's going to end, I believe. Yeah, this will take another 1 or 2 minutes. It will going to end. Let's see. So, so Minikube will give you a functionality for practicing testing and all. You can do it in Minikube. Like this, you don't want to set up the entire cluster for the whole thing. Yeah, I think it's completed. Okay, all these processes are completed. It says newer version is required. Actually, I have a kubectl outdated version. It's not an error. That's simple warning. It's notifying me to update my kubectl version. It's not. Other than that, it's nothing. Okay, and fine. I think. So coming to this cluster, right? Should be functional. Yeah, everything it's looks good now. Okay, everything looks good now. Fine. The cluster has been provisioned successfully.